Stewart! Yes! And surely that's the goal!
Good morning and welcome to Sensible Sunderland. We are almost back to a full-strength squad, except for Lee. We wish him very, very well because he's had an operation. He's had it taken off, and we're all very, very proud of him. And we can't wait to see him living his best life because a vaginoplasty is no small matter. I'm back. I've escaped from a Thai prison. They had a competition where if you have sex with 50 lady boys, they'll let you out. So I managed to get through and I've done well. And I'm back to Sensible Sunderland to talk about what was a disappointing result at the Den yesterday, or was it not a disappointing result? We'll get into it. We've got Mark, we've got Anth. Fellas, how are we? What did we think?
Yeah, I'm just going to come straight out and say I'm very disappointed after yesterday. It felt like would have all took the draw, obviously, at the start of the game, but to kind of hang on for as long as we did. And I'll say look as comfortable as we did, to be totally honest, and to lose it. Well, not lose it, but to concede so close, it felt like a loss.
I pissed right off with that. Just another 2 points thrown away.
When we come to sort of Twitter questions and Sky social questions, there's a question that says, we talk about game management on this podcast and that we think we do game management well, etc., rather than going for the throat. And do we still feel like that or do we not? And it's a good question, which obviously we'll come to because I suppose there's a little talk about naivety in this Sunderland squad, but you're going to get that because they're young, etc. And we can't seem to close games out, throwing it away against Coventry, not doing well enough against Preston and KPR. Like, it might come to the end of the season and we could be 4 or 5 points off second place. And those are the games that cost you, I think.
No, I mean, for me, like, the game yesterday, I put in the group, didn't I? I actually fancied us to win it. Like, when he backs against the wall, like, galvanises you, get people coming to the team who are really keen and want to get cracking with things. But it was just so poor yet again, just throwing 2 points away. And like, for me, we should be 4 points clear at the top of the league now, as Sheffield United. And we're not. We've got to play them Friday night. So, no, these fine margins can sort of turn positions on the head almost. Do you know what I mean? Like we could be third.
We could have been 8 or 9 points clear, couldn't we?
Well, like I said, I mean, I've been saying over the last couple of pods that asset was getting big, but just throwing points away, I absolutely hate it. I can't accept it, and that's what we've done over the last 2 games for me.
Yeah, we said when you were inside, Dan, in one of the episodes, we said that this is the time of the season where you should really be stockpiling your points. And I don't want to sit here and say, well, it's not so bad because obviously Sheffield United dropped points yesterday, and we'll see how Leeds get on today. Like Mark says, this is the time where we might look back and we might regret it because this could be the time where, as you say, we could be 8 or 9 points clear. My big worry after last week was that because we kind of threw it away last week, that we were going to be more apprehensive in general. And I thought that might bite us on the arse, but we started really, really quickly. And like Mark said, there was a lot of players there who, like, you felt were happy to get the chance and they were there to prove themselves. I think we started really, really fast first half.
I mean, I'll flip it on its head, saying we are throwing points away. There's no doubt about it, and it's incredibly frustrating. But we're still top of the league.
Yeah, but like we say, we could have been top of the league by 8 or 9 points now.
But we're still top.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I'm just being facetious now. I'm just being facetious. It's called hosting a podcast, and maybe you should try it because I listened to the last couple of episodes in my secure unit. Listen to it. No. You were very good for a man who was born with half a brain.
Thank you, sir.
I was at work, so I only sort of caught the last 20 minutes, if that, and even then my stream was dodgy. And Millwall were obviously all over us, and they'll go away from that game thinking, well, yeah, we deserved a fucking point. And I think actually Sunderland were just a bit unlucky yesterday. Really, they defended very, very well by all accounts from the reports I've read, etc. And just 90 seconds short, that I can kind of forgive them for yesterday. It's more so the press and KPR stuff that if those results had been better, in Coventry especially, then we kind of wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd be saying, it's a bit of a natter, but it's Millwall away is a good point. But actually we're saying, that result's a bit shit now, really, because we were 90 seconds from 3 points.
with the players coming in, you'd have took that point before the game. And I know people are going to kick off at the fact that we sat back and like we invited pressure, but I thought in terms of defending our box, I thought we were very comfortable. Like there wasn't many for me. There wasn't many heart in your mouth moments yesterday. They put a lot of balls in the box, but we dealt with everything. Another thing about criticising us sitting in, the goal itself actually came, the equaliser actually came from the fact that we kind of tried to go up the other end and score, and we got
that's
caught on
right.
the counter. So that's one way to look at it as well.
But you're right. I mean, it's such a grey area this game because our league position sort of skews your opinion a little bit. But for me yesterday, obviously we started really well. We were brilliant the first half. I thought Millwall just couldn't get going, and then second half I don't know what's happening. I don't know if it's Labrie, if it's his tactic to sit in and try and hold the lead, or one thing that sticks in my mind is what he said earlier in the season about the players decided to change the formation almost. And like yesterday, I was saying the players were all defenders, and it looked like that second half that they just wanted to defend, and they were sort of eating it all up. They quite enjoyed defending, I think, and that's how it looked to me. And generally, we were really comfortable, weren't we? And then, I mean, the goal's a shot and goal to concede. By the way, I've watched it back a couple of times. It's a stinking goal to concede. That it's like
the wrong side of him, isn't he? Like the man who pushed the ball, he's wrong side of him the whole time.
There's like three or four things that I picked out. I mean, obviously, Alexis should have scored. He was far too casual with it. Then you've got we had 3 or 4 defenders that they started to break away. Someone's just got to take a boot in there, just wipe them out.
Yeah,
totally.
Most of our defense was then over on our right hand side, leaving the other wing totally exposed. And the worst one for me was if you watch Isidore stood on the halfway line with his hands on his knees, and that Aziz just runs straight past him. He doesn't even. I think Isidore even starts to walk back towards the centre circle. Like there was not one bit of interest in tracking back. And if he just matched his run, he doesn't score. So I'm well, as you can tell, I'm fucking pissed off with it yesterday. It wasn't unlucky. We defended really, really well. That was just poor game management towards the end, and they'd all switched off. They thought the final whistle was coming.
So can I put it down to a moment of sloppiness then?
That's exactly what it was. Poor, yeah. It was really, really poor from like 3 or 4 players, I would say.
It was a much changed side. I'm just looking at the lineup here because I haven't really. You're going to have to educate me on the game a little bit yesterday. Patterson came back in, looking across rate and say he's getting like 6, 7 out of 10s. Did he look comfortable? Any rustiness?
Yeah, he didn't have much to do. Whatever shots came in were pretty much straight at him.
The eyes really solid. Exactly what you need from your keeper.
When I was in the secure unit, they made me go to a pottery class. And I made lovely Luke 09 at right back Vars. How did he get on?
I thought he was pretty solid, to be honest.
He was. He can play anywhere, can't he? I was half expecting to be pushed up into midfield, to be honest, but no, he was absolutely class. He can play anywhere on the pitch, can't he?
Who's that German midfielder? Pep Guardiola said he can literally play anywhere.
Philip Lahm.
Philip Lahm. Was a Philip? I didn't know if it was Muller, but Philip Lahm, like Luke 09 is our Philip Lahm.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another.
Just loads better.
Kimmich as well. Kimmich
as well.
I think
it's all often you get it. It's all often you get one of them players who you can literally sort of put them anywhere and they'll just slot in. So Luke 09, I know we like him on this podcast anyway, but like it was his birthday last week where he put on the page happy birthday because he really is the consummate write-off, isn't he? He'll never be a midfielder. He'll never step up to the championship. He's not a defender. He's not this, that, and the other. And actually, he's a proper leader of a club.
I love how the common theme between players that slotted anywhere is the fact that they're all German. Like that tells you something. I don't know if you have like noticed that. That tells you something really about German. Maybe Luke 09's German and his real name's Luke Ono.
Oh dear.
Make that joke to me again.
You better get that on, you little bastard.
I made the connection there. I was like, I don't care how much they veer away from this point. I'm going to steer it back to that point. I'm going to get that joke in no matter how shit it is.
Fucking terrible.
I'll move on swiftly to Chris Meffam and Dan Ballard at centre half. Well, actually, Elise as well. Elise was left back, wasn't he? Apologies. So, yeah Chris Meffam, Dan Ballard. Nice to see Ballard back. We don't need to talk about Meffam because by all accounts he was sort of our man of the match. But what about Ballard? How was he?
Yeah, just looked really solid. Typical Dan Ballard, just like a unit.
But I think to not drag it out, the defense was brilliant. At least he was class as well. Like it was like I say, that's why to me the second half was almost like dominated by our defenders because I think they just wanted to defend. They were more than happy to sit in. They just ate everything up until the last minute. But I suppose that's what you get when you go four centre backs on the pitch. So no, we were class defensively until let's say until the last minute.
Dan Neil's had a fair bit of criticism across all the socials when I was reading yesterday. How do you feel he performed? Because he often gets criticised, and we talk about, well, he's under a magnifying glass because he's a local lad, because he's the captain, blah, blah, blah. But all of that aside, if we look at Dan Neil objectively, if he wasn't from Sunderland, how would would we be less harsh?
No, I think the criticisms on yesterday are the same criticisms that we've like had of him whenever he has had a bad game. He's too slow at times, and we think it's down to his positioning more than anything else. Like he's just obviously he's playing more defensively than he would probably like to. But again, had we held on for another 30 seconds, I don't think we would have really had a problem with his performance.
No, I mean it was all right, and I think we're pretty fair on it. Like we never overly criticize players, and I mean, for me, we do need a bit more from him. I think we've said before, I don't genuinely think at the moment he's captain. He's a proper captain, but we just need a bit more from him. We really do.
I mean, I've got the Roker reports comments on the player ratings up, and it says Dan Neil had to put in a real shift with only Rig alongside him, and although the midfield were overran for the break, Neil did compete well in the middle of the pitch. Like I say, I didn't particularly see it, but that seems to be a little bit of a common theme. I think when we concede and we're not at our best, Dan Neil tends to be involved. Or am I unfair there?
No, I think there was a few times in the game where he like picked the ball up the edge of the box and he kind of tried to like get us forward. But in terms of the goal we conceded, I wouldn't particularly blame Dan Neil. It's just one of those things we got caught on the break.
No, well, it definitely wasn't Dan Neil's fault. The goal. For me, I just feel like he's anonymous too much, too often.
Bit of a passenger.
Like it's like his position is he's not going to be like not going to get 10 out of 10s from him in that position because it's not the sort of game. It's like that Rodri position, isn't it? Where like he's just got to be solid and he does his things that sort of go unnoticed, but he sort of doesn't do that very well at the moment. And like for me, I just think we need a bit more from him. He goes missing in games a little bit for me, and there's a quality player in there. Don't get us wrong. It might be the position that's the issue, but for our captain, we've got to get a bit more out of him, I think.
Mayenda returned to the squad. Well, to the starting 11 rather. How did he get on the right?
A few people I've spoken to about it have said he was absolutely dog shite, but I thought he did all right. I thought he did as well as I'd expect him to. The only problem is, I think defensively, he just didn't really have that nous to kind of do his job second half.
I think in our group chat, Mark, you'd said Mayenda's mustard on the right hand side. Mustard it's got a double meaning. Sometimes mustard can mean absolute dog shit or like, whoa, he's really good. I didn't actually get which one you meant.
No, I genuinely, I was going to bring him up. I thought he was really exciting to watch. Like, fair enough, there's some development there if we're going to play in that position, but some of the times he got the ball, he started running the play. I thought the Millwall defence looked terrified. For me, the issue was the way we set up in the second half because we didn't give him or Tommy Watson the ball anywhere near Millwall's box, so they couldn't really affect the game. But some of his touches I thought were class, and the way he cut inside and stuff like that, I'd like to see a bit more of him in that position. If I'm being honest, and I think he would probably challenge Paddy Roberts a bit.
He was like a better bar, wasn't he? Like a bit chaotic, but like you say, he generally had more control over what he was doing.
And Stephen Hawking would be a better bar. Put it on my head. No, I shouldn't take the piss out of Stephen Hawking, should I? But he's dead, isn't he, actually?
I was going to say he's dead, he doesn't care.
Right.
He's not bothered to see
No, but I just thought like some of his touches were class, and it was nice to see him get on the ball a little bit more. Because whenever he's played up front, he's just like laying it off, and then make a run a sort of one-touch football. But I think there's a player there. Like if it were a bit of guidance and stuff, I think he'll do well in that position.
Absolute beauty of a goal from Aaron Connolly. He's never particularly looked like an out and out striker to me when he's sort of coming for Isidore or whatever. But is his position a little bit better further down the pitch? Was he more natural yesterday? How did he get on?
Yeah, I think he looked more confident. He looked more involved, but I think that was a lot of that was to do with the confidence of just getting his goal. But I do think we looked a different side when he went off. I think we all go on about and say, oh, the second half generally was poor, but I think he was the big moment really when he went off. That's when things really changed. Personally, like I don't know about you, Mark.
Nah, I thought he was pretty anonymous other than his goal. I think he might as well not have been on the pitch. I think that's not to say that him going off didn't change the game because, I mean, obviously Alexic came on and, I mean, he didn't have a very good game at all, did he? So I think, there's absolutely some credit in that, but for me, Connolly might as well not have been on the pitch other than his goal. He did nothing for me.
Really?
Like obviously good, great goal, obviously contributed, of course, but other than that, like that, nah, I mean, he did nothing for me.
Here's a question, and then some people might get onto us if I'm wrong here, but can you name the last time a Sunderland player scored a volley?
Isidore scored one.
Yes, well done, well done. Now here comes the real crux of it. When was the time before a Sunderland player last scored a volley? Not a half volley, a volley.
Oh, was it someone like Embleton or Dan Neil or somebody?
No.
Hang on, before we give you the answer, do you know the answer?
Yes,
Or-
I've got.
Okay then. Okay.
I've got it in front of us.
Right.
Virginia's own goal. Saw that one.
No, so it's in between that time and our League One times.
Before against the Mags.
Nope, there's one in between that as well.
Mm.
The
player
scored one for us.
Nope, the player who scored it, as far as I'm concerned, was badly underutilised at Sunderland.
Right, I don't know. Just give us the answer.
Wabi Kazri against Chelsea.
Oh yeah.
Ah,
Aye.
Oh,
Right.
you two there, like the fucking water boy. Oh, Mama said Wabi Kazri scored.
Wabi Kazri is the devil. That was David Moyes.
Allardyce hated him, didn't he?
Okay, I absolutely loved Wabi Kazri. You give him the ball, like something used to happen. I mean, he'd lost it a fair bit, thinking it was wrong, but he was really, really good. Wabi Kazri, I liked him.
Yeah. To be honest, though, he was infuriating. I remember there was a game at West Ham where we'll get beat 1-0 in the last minute and he got the ball like in the 6-yard box and tried to do it on the corner. I was just like, what are you doing?
Like, if anything is the antichrist of Sunderland fans is trying to fuck about like that on the 94th chasing an equaliser. Like, why are you playing that, man?
Get your foot through it, man.
Right. Tommy Watson
looked much better on his natural side, didn't he? I mean, I put in the group chat yesterday, it's like actually criminal how we've just managed to get Jack Clark back. That's how comfortably looked in the first half, I thought. But yeah, when we had to kind of batten down the hatches and sit in second half, he obviously the game passed him by. But saying that, for a young kid, he could have done a lot worse having to defend for as long as he did.
No, I totally agree. I think he was good the first half. He had Millwall's right back panicking a bit, but again, the way we set up the second half, I personally can't understand it at all, and it just ruined the game for him and my ender. I think
what will go in Tommy Watson's favour, particularly at the minute, is he's an unknown quantity in the Championship as well, isn't he? There's not many scouts will have watched Sunderland's reserves and seen how he's got on, and potentially he might play, he might not. Like, whereas now, obviously, he'll start to get figured out a little bit. We'll have to see how good he really is or isn't. But from what I've seen yesterday, obviously I haven't seen the second half. He didn't do much, but from the extended highlights, he looked all right. You know, he put the Millwall right back on his arse a couple of times and stuff. So that's exactly what you want from your winger.
Yeah, I mean, Paddy Roberts will be back for Tuesday on the other side, but would you just stick with
Will he though?
I still think Paddy Roberts comes back. I know we're saying my ender was all right yesterday, but I still think Paddy Roberts comes back on that right hand side. Like on
to be fair, like we, taking Paddy Roberts off on the 70th minute, like, and then my ender coming on against tired legs, it could bear fruit. That
depends, because we'll probably just be putting defending for the full half again.
The Mark from the Sensible Sunlight podcast does not like when Regis set up a defense.
I did it.
Your French country not. Fucking baguette eating dickhead frog. Right. So Wilson Isidore, it was his ball over the top that set up Alexic. We're going to get on to Alexic because he got a little bit of criticism actually. But as for Isidore,
A tough game, really. Especially the second half. First half, it was more about the wingers, I think. But second half, it was a write off for the attackers, really.
Yeah, yeah. I think he got hurt in the first half. There was a couple of times where he was like clutching his foot, his ankle.
I did.
And then second half, I know you were saying he was kind of like jogging for the goal, which was annoying. But
No, he didn't. No, he didn't jog. He stood there and then walked at the centre circle.
Fucking baguette eating dickhead frog.
The funny thing is, as well, I've just built up to get to Paris. Cancelling that now.
Mind he enjoyed putting them Christmas lights on though, didn't he? What a time he had putting them Christmas lights on.
I tell you what, right? I'd love to like imagine the celebrity campmates and I'm a celeb. This like the ones that come in late is like Wilson Isidore and Dave the Rave. Like I'd like to have them two together at last. All right, so Milan Alexic, he got a bit of criticism yesterday, and there's a lots of talk about him, like why aren't they playing him? We've paid this money for him. Is he fit? Is he good enough? Is he this, that, and the other? And then he went and missed. Can you call that a sitter? I think for a professional footballer, you probably can't. And 1-on-1 to miss that and put the game to bed. It amplified these conversations that are already going on around him. How did he look? I mean, for the little bit I seen him, he looked like neat and tidy, really, but
yeah,
just couldn't score.
Well, I think he's getting unfair criticism. I thought it was an all right cameo. He didn't really do much in general because he just couldn't, because we didn't have a lot of the ball. But I thought he showed some neat touches, and for the chance that he missed, it was a chance, but I wouldn't call it a sitter. Like, I know he's still on the keeper, but I wouldn't say it was a sitter. The angle
it was on his right foot at that angle. Like, that's an absolute sitter. That, like, don't get us wrong, I'm not going to go in on him because like it's just his debut. Do you know what I mean? He's only 19, but I mean that was a sitter.
But I want you to caveat by telling us whether you think he's good enough to play big boys football and is he ready?
I don't know if he's ready because we haven't seen enough of him. But I mean, he had a poor game yesterday. But he had a dog shit game yesterday. Let's be honest. But that's not to say that there's not a player in there and he won't go on to do well. I think we said it over the last couple of weeks that for me that you've got to bed these players in when we're doing well, like in an easy game almost, or like Millwall away when they've been absolutely all over us for the second half. It was always going to be tough for him to come into. Would have been tough for like Alan Brown to come into and get up to speed in it. So he's been dealt a bit of a rough hand, I think. But I mean, he's got to score that chance. So I mean, it's on his right foot at that angle, like he just hits it straight at the keeper. It seems a bit too casual with it for me, but obviously it's amplified by the fact that they go up and score at the other end in like 5 seconds later or whatever. But that wasn't his fault.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm going to move on to Twitter questions because we've got millions through Sky Social, and through Twitter. So I apologise that we probably won't get through them all. However, we very, very much appreciate people who've sent in questions. I'm going to go straight to John Wilson, and John asked the question which I mentioned at the top of the podcast. He said a few weeks ago about the lads not going for the jugular when on top, and your pod disagreed, saying it was good game management. Do you still think that?
Depends on the result. You know what I mean? Like if we hung on for another 30 seconds, we'd be sitting here now and saying like, "Oh yeah, good game management from the lads."
Would you though? Or would you not say like, if we just got a second goal, 60th minute, we'd have put it to bed and it'd been a lot better of an afternoon. Instead, we sitting and defended and we've managed to come away with a win, but we were lucky.
Right, but there's two teams, you know what I mean? It's not all about us. Sometimes it's about what Millwall do as well. Like, I think we need to give credit to them, actually. It's one of those things. It just depends on the quality of the opposition. Obviously, we'd all like to see us put the game to bed on 60 minutes, but it can't always be that way.
But for me, if we just manage the game properly, I couldn't care less if we win 1-0 or 4-0. It's a point at the end of the day. But that to me yesterday was poor game management, as was the Coventry game, because we're sitting back. And I would also argue that if we do go for the juggling and we just go all out attack, then we get hit like we did yesterday on the break. So it's one of those, and that's right. If it just depends on the result. Like I say, if we're getting that 1-0 win yesterday, we move on. We're not that bothered. But the thing I'm more irritated about is that there's a pattern now of we're getting in front and then we're just literally sitting back, just
Yeah.
happy to defend for a full half.
Yeah.
And there was
Yeah.
no need for that yesterday. We absolutely dominated Millwall. And one thing that I've got in my mind now is like I genuinely believe that we are, if not the best, then probably top two best teams in that league, like hands down. Because to do that yesterday at the Millwall with the team we had out, like we're brilliant on the ball, but for some reason we just decided to totally change in the second half and not get hold of the ball, sat far too deep and just invite pressure onto us, which I don't like because I think we could have gone on and scored more goals in that second half yesterday if we wanted to.
To give it more context as well, Leeds and Burnley both lost there.
It's not an easy place to go at any time. Millwall were our bogey team for years, weren't they? Remember Tim Cahill? Millwall were always our bogey side. So it's just a shame we couldn't eke it out. But I'm going to go to Ryan Hodgson's question. He says 2 games in a row now we've thrown away a lead after dominating the first half. Does it feel worse than it is? And who impressed the most today, particularly out of the ones who came in?
The timing of the goal's the real sickener. Like another thing as well, had we conceded that goal in like the 60th minute, I don't think people would have been as annoyed, but it's just the timing of it that's like obviously awful. But in terms of who came in, I'd probably say Elise was probably my man of the match from those who came in.
You're right, Ant. I totally agree with that. It was the timing. But to me, it was the way we set up as well. I'm getting properly frustrated about this sitting back. Like, I don't understand it. And obviously, Lacey was class coming in, but I thought Mendy, the first half, I'm pretty excited to see him if he gets a bit more time on that right wing because I think it caused a bit of damage there for us.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. And this goes nicely into Stu's question at Tenchy Lad, who says it's twofold for me, the game. It's always a difficult place to go. I would definitely have taken a point beforehand, so that's positive. But it's disappointing that we can't hold on for 90 more seconds, hoping that it doesn't become a mental issue, that we're taking the lead and not holding on to it. And that's a question. And I think, like Mark said there is a little bit of a pattern. Like, why is it that we just can't seem to hold on, just kill a game off, just starve a game? We all thought we were home and dry at half time against Coventry, really, didn't we? Like, I know 2-goal leads dangerous if they get one back sort of thing, but really it's comfortable in a sense, and you 2 goals to the good. And at the minute, I suppose I still put it down to the fact we've got a very young squad, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think the like 2 different sets of factors really. Coventry for me, the game changed on the fact that Mundle and Brown went off when they did. I think if they stay on the pitch, I think we're ultimately stronger and we might go on and get a third. I know it's all ifs and buts. And yesterday to have not only a young side, but like a ragtag young side. Like I've mentioned about Burnley and Leeds losing there previously. If you took 4 or 5 starters out of their team, or anybody's team for that matter, they wouldn't have held on for a point yesterday. So I think
Man City wouldn't have held on for a point against Millwall.
Dan, you've took Rodri out of their team and they're going to get relegated. You know what I mean? So
if I hadn't heard what I'd heard early in the season about the players being able to change the formation, then I'd just say, like, that's the way the management team is setting them up to play when they've got a lead, which I fundamentally disagree with. Like, obviously, take Man City out of the last 5 games, but when they're winning games, they just keep hold of the ball and they pass it around. Like, we're capable of doing that. Like, we're capable of dominating the game for sort of long periods. So why on earth we're just deciding to sit in for 45 minutes? I honestly I just can't get it in my head. I really don't understand it.
are we capable though? Because I know like everyone says, oh, we're capable to do it, but we've only really seen it against Oxford and Derby, and they're probably like 2 of the poorest teams in the division, I think. Like we all said the problem with last season is that we kind of stopped trying to play quick. Like we're always at our most kind of dangerous when we are like going 100 miles an hour at teams. And I just think it's impossible for us to play with like that speed all the time. So I think when we slow the game down, I think sometimes that's when we do make mistakes. So I think that's purposely why they're not trying to do that.
No, I'm not. I don't mean as in like just go out and attack for like 90 minutes. There's absolutely going to be periods of the game, like 10 minutes at a time, for instance, where we might have to just sit in like we did yesterday. But for me, we're like purposely setting out for 45 minutes to just do that.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you look at like the Burnley game we dominated, like the first half yesterday, we totally dominated that, and it was just like night and day the way we set out from the first half to the second. And that's what I'm struggling to understand. I would understand if Millwall had like really cranked it up, but I mean, did they really? I don't think they did. I genuinely think it was our decision yesterday to just sit in.
Tony Byrne, his question's very much the same. To go battling performance. Why do we seem to back off teams and sit in the second half? And that is baffling. But Tony caveats it by saying, "Are we putting Job straight back in for West Brom?" I think the answer is yes.
100%. Yeah.
Without doubt.
Like I was always one for sort of criticising Job last season, but there's nothing I wouldn't do for that lad. Nothing, I tell you. Nothing I wouldn't. He can have me wife if he wants. He could. It's not a problem. Not a problem. I think Sunderland always just look better with him in the middle. Like he's like a proper midfield maestro, and he.
Yeah, like it puts to bed that argument of how important he actually is now. The fact we've had to be 3 games without him.
And then we've drew like the last 4 thrown away games. Colin Benson asks, what's your view on only using one sub? This is a bit of a thing with Libris, actually, isn't it? He's late to make subs, or he started off late making subs. It's changed a little bit now, but he's also a little bit resistant. I think particularly yesterday we didn't have a strong bench because we were already a patched up team anyway. So I kind of get yesterday. But as for games before that, his substitutions can be a little bit baffling at times.
Yeah, like you say, yesterday we didn't really have the quality to maybe bring on. So I think that's like his excuse for yesterday. But I mean, the game before, obviously, Coventry, like Alan Brown had to come back on with a broken leg for a couple of minutes before.
Remember Mike Bassett, England manager, and Gary Wackett has returned to the side after shaking off a broken jaw.
So yeah, it's a little bit worrying. Like,
Nah, I've got no issue with them with the subs. I think the important thing, and I totally get it from the club's point of view, is that it's consistency and trying to keep a constant team really. Because I think that's how you do get success. The reality is, yesterday we didn't really have anyone else to bring on, did we? And let's say for me, we performed really well. We're top of the league, so why would you make too many changes? It reminds us a bit of Alex Neil. Alex Neil always used to make one sub, or it would be like the 89th minute or something like that, and for me, it's worked pretty well this season, and ultimately we just haven't really got the squad at the moment, have we, with the injuries? And but for me, we need to look at the injuries, mind. There's far too many injuries across that squad. Like, it's absolutely horrendous.
That's always the risk, isn't it? To get the players that we get for as cheap as we get them.
I like to think our medical squad are like a 1700s plague doctor. Like, I've come up with a dead leg. All right, I'm gonna have to put this dog nail up your arsehole. We'll get you back on the pitch in 3 weeks, son. Like to cure migraines, they just get your head up against a brick wall and then hit you on the other side red with a sledgehammer. that's how you're out.
We've got a club exorcist as well, just for those really dark injuries.
Oh, tell you, mate. Luke O'Neill plays the next game on all fours with bright red eyes.
Who put the Twitter post out about Alan Brown, saying that?
It was me.
I mean, like, someone came back saying, how would they know? I'm like, I don't expect them to like diagnose it on the spot, but I would expect them to like have a suspicion that he might have a fucking broken leg. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah. I mean, I'm not a medical man, but like, his bone was jutting out of his leg. Get yourself back on there, son. You'll be all right. Run it off.
Run it off.
Right. Last Twitter question comes from Josh Hutchinson. He asks, are our fans too quick to write players off brackets Alexic? Mundell was honking for weeks when he first came in the team. And I'll answer that first because I think, yes, we absolutely are. And I've been guilty of this myself. Like, we did write Mundell off. We did write O'Neill off. Bellingham got the punishment as well. Only for him because of his brother. And the reality is we have a young squad and they have to be tread properly, and you see them get better as time goes on. That can only come with introducing them in the right games at the right time, blah, 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 blah. And, I think our fans do wear the heart on the sleeve a little bit. And, our dad listens to this podcast, and he's very much like he hates Dan Neil. He thinks Dan Neil's one of the worst footballers ever to play for Sunderland. And I always say, Father, he's not like he's absolutely excellent. Like, but it just goes to show that the difference of opinions. You know what I mean? Like, I just think Sunderland fans, we're reactive. We're very reactive.
Yeah, I mean, it was all aimed at Alexic yesterday, but I think that was just like people, just the anger of it, isn't it? And the frustration. They always look for a scapegoat, but it's the same people I find on social media, like who they just constantly seem to be angry with the club. And I'm just like, what do you get out of supporting someone? Like, we're all disappointed with the result yesterday, but if you can't enjoy us now, like after last season, like what's the point? What are you waiting for?
That's the thing. Like you kind of keep everyone happy. There'll always be a small contingent that like some people aren't happy unless they're mourning. Like we'll all know people like that. The reality is you've just got to be. I mean, you've got to look at the bigger picture. Yesterday was frustrating. Don't get us wrong, and I'm as pissed off as anyone with it. But like you can't have too much of a go at Alexis. Yeah, he didn't play very well, but he's 19. He might go on and be an absolute world beater for us. Job's had bad games, and now we're all saying, oh, God, we haven't half missed them last 3 games.
Now we all want to suck them off.
So it's one of those, and like it's the same with every club, and you're going to get a small contingent who they just want to mourn that. That's all they're there for, really. They're not happy with anything, but go in the right direction generally. But I wouldn't write any of the young lads off really, other than Bar. I mean, Bar just needs to fucking leave. Do you know what I mean? Like, just get him out.
Until we're in the playoff final, and remember when Abdullah Bar came back and held the Mud Dogs win the Bourbon Bowl? I've just jumped over to Sky Social there, so just for information's sake, we are on Sky Social now. There seems to be a bit of an exodus from Twitter. Not that we're leaving Twitter, but we're also available over there. Lots of questions, and one from Clint Gibson. He said, just on the criticism of players, can you please make a point of explaining Alexic is just a kid? It's his first game abroad, and explain that people need to wind the fucking necks in. Much appreciated. And I completely agree, actually. Yeah. Like, I think missing one chance yesterday and being slow, like, it's not his fault he hasn't been on the pitch immediately. Like, there's a management structure who decide when and not he'll come in. And I think, actually, it's undue criticism, really. He's a bairn. He was born in 2005.
That's ridiculous, that. But yeah, he's just a kid, and it's a debut. Like, people are quick to write players after the one game, but like, I always harp back to the worst debut I've ever seen of anybody was Jan Kirchhoff, and you know what I mean. He went on to be absolutely a Rolls Royce of a player, and then to flip it, one of the best debuts I've ever seen was Stan Varga, and he went on to be absolutely dog shit. So you can't base it on one game.
Nah, I always remember Rada Pritchard's debut.
He scored. He had one disallowed, didn't he?
That's like, look at this player we've signed.
Superfeb's back. Here we go.
Lots of the questions on Sky Social are sort of a similar vein to Twitter. So thank you to the Maradona, to Joe Hughes, to Ian H11. I like to think we've kind of answered them, but do write in. We appreciate it. Davy James 25 asks, how good is Elise? He's out for weeks, and you'd think he'd never been away. We need to wrap him in cotton wool, and I think that's right, because when we started the season, we were all saying Elise's like he's class, and it's just a shame he's made of quavers.
Yeah, we've been lucky in the sense that I think we've said about 5 defenders this season that the best defender at the club. Like we said about Ballard at one point, we said about Elise, we said about O'Neill, Metham. I still think he's a centre half. That's still his best position. I was quite worried about him coming in and playing fullback yesterday, because there was a few games last season where I think he got caught ball watching a few times. I think of like Ipswich away and that way he got caught. But yesterday he came in and he just absolutely he just ran it, really.
It's an interesting question.
A few weeks ago, Anthony, if I'd be happy with Elise at left back, and I said I would be. He was solid yesterday. The only worry I've got is that every time he comes back from injury, he's like rushed back into the team and the squad. It's like he never, like, obviously he'll not be like fully fit yesterday. I wouldn't have thought, but like for me, ideally he gets a couple of weeks on the bench and then you slowly get him back into it, don't you? But he's always rushed back in, and then I feel like he's always injured again.
Same with Ballard. Like, there was a point yesterday where Ballard went down, and he was down for a while, and he was like really like breathing heavily, and I was thinking like, oh God, like, get the leeches. Do you know what I mean? But he just looked like really. He's another one where I think we just need to maybe like be careful about how quickly we bring him back sometimes.
Yeah, exactly that. It's like that was remember Michael Bailey just absolutely flogged Delacey, absolutely flogged him, and he ended up injured again. It was like That was one of the worst things Bale did, I think.
Seeing he's back in football.
Did we not say that he'll end up in Saudi or somewhere? That's his level.
That's exactly what's happened.
Aye.
He'll just go and
You're right.
bullshit some rich sheik and get himself a job somewhere over there on like $1 million
That's
quid a
right,
month or something.
That's
Back
right.
to Stevie G, innit? So he was Stevie G's number
That's why he
2,
started, wasn't it? It's I think I'm just gonna go on to the Portugal Mattins question here. He says the defence was strong till the 92nd minute. Is that the tallest back four we've ever had? And I like that question because it's got us thinking about who's the tallest defenders we've ever had. And the one that sprung to my mind the quickest was Sebastian Coates.
I'll tell you who was an absolute freak of nature. Like, he looked like should have been on the wrestling. Do you remember that Mangan?
Keada Mangan, Martin
he played
O'Neill.
about 10 minutes against the Mags when
That's
we
right.
turned out under the Canio. But like, he was an absolute unit. Him. I remember seeing like his like reveal picture on deadline day, and I was genuinely a bit frightened.
Portugal Mattins right when he says actually. I'm just googling tallest defenders in football. Chris Meffam's on there. Sebastian Coates is on there.
How big's Meffam?
1.93 meters. 1.93 meters. In feet is 6'3".
That's not very tall, really, is it?
I don't know. We're 6'1" and we're big lads.
I'm 6'2", thank you.
No, you can't be. I'm
Yes,
only
I fucking am.
No, all right. Touchy. The lady doth protest too much. have you got a little cup or something? What's wrong?
How did you know?
Like that? Are you on testosterone or steroids or so? Because that was needlessly aggressive.
Yes, I am. He was beautiful.
It's Sunday morning. I've had a cup of coffee here.
But it was nice to have big lads at the back. Actually, I don't know if that's like becoming something that's a little bit forgotten. I don't know, or just because we've got a little squad or what. Like, but nice. I love a big centre half. I remember like Nemanja Vidic and Chris Samba and that. I love them type of players. All right, last question comes from Keith C. What would you consider to be a good points return from the next two home games? So that's West Brom, then we're away to Sheffield United. I don't know who the game is after that actually.
Yeah, I was hoping one of you would have checked it. I mean, I could have checked it easily enough as well, mate.
It's Stoke City. So really against West Brom and Stoke, 4 points surely, which he also says. Keith said I would take 4. I mean, yeah, that absolutely has got to be a minimum, hasn't it?
I could see us going. I mean, I know it's not the home game, but I could see us going to Sheffield United and winning. Because I don't think they're outflash.
You know, and they've got who got sent off yesterday, man, bloody
Modric.
And he's one of their danger men, isn't he?
It's one of them. Like, I think West Brom, you never know what you're going to get with them. Like, they're a very good footballing side, which is very inconsistent. And obviously, Josh Madger's nailed on to score at least 2. So there's that.
No, Dan Bollard's nailed on to karate, kick him in the base of his spine.
That's it. And Stoke, they're always just like 16th Stoke, aren't they?
I hate Stoke. I proper don't like Stoke, mate. They're a horrible, horrible club, them, like.
Yeah, goes back to the Roy Delap days for me. I just thought they were awful.
I think we'll get 4 points this week. I think we'll beat West Brom, probably draw with Sheffield United, and then I think Stoke will absolutely turn us over 3-0. That's all I'll have.
That's Sunderland. That will be Sunderland as outright, wouldn't it?
I think we'll draw against West Brom. I think we'll beat Sheffield United. And I think we'll beat Stoke. So that's 7 points, which is, I think, a really good return.
You sound like a mag.
Why?
Because we're going to do 7 point. Just have just a little tiny bit of conscientiousness for once. Do you not think we could get beat there?
Of course we could, but I'm confident for us to go and get a result at Bramall Lane. Like, that's the big one for me. West Brom's the one where we drop points. West Brom's my biggest worry coming up.
Bite your hands off for a point at Bramall Lane. I think a point against West Brom wouldn't be disastrous, but you've got to be looking to win your home games if you want to get promoted. Doesn't matter who it's against, really. Even if you are 2 up at half time, should we looking to win them types of games. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think if you want to preview the West Brom game a little bit, I don't think they're of particular threat to us. They're not a bad side. Depends which version of West Brom you get. I was browsing their message boards, and their fans are very much the same. They're like, if on our day we'll beat anybody, but when we're bad, and hopefully it'll be a bad night for them come Tuesday. I would score prediction, I'd say 2-0 to Sunderland. I'm being positive. After I've just keened Dan for being so positive.
4-0 up at half time. No, I think 1-1.
Marky Mark.
It'll be a tight game. I think you're right. You don't know what you're going to get with West Brom, but they're not a challenge for the top two, I don't think. But they'll probably get in the playoffs. Probably tight game, 1-0, 2-1, something like that to us.
I mean, the last 5 games they've drew 4-1-1, exactly the same as us. We're due a win, you know. I'm just looking. We the last 5 games we've only won 1, drew 4. Like we need a win. Like we do need to get 3 points on the board and get back to winning ways. We're desperate, really.
Yeah.
The more I look at that form table, especially when you look at the likes of Borough, who's won the last 3, Burnley's won the last 2, Sheffield United have won 4 out the last 5. Teams that are within very close range of us are winning games, and we need to be winning games as well. And I'm not frustrated yet, but if let's say we're like beating West Brom 1-0 and then they equalise in the 87th minute, I'll be starting to think, for fuck's sake, like it's really not good enough.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, someone said a couple of weeks ago, I think one of the questions was, how do you look at it? Like, unbeaten in so many, or we haven't won in so many. And I was like, well, it depends which like rhetoric you want to like view it through, really. But I'm at that point now where people keep saying like unbeaten in 9 or whatever it is now, which is good, don't get us wrong, but it's like, how many of them would be like 0-0 draws and 1-1s, obviously 2-2s in games we should be winning. So when was our last win? Actually, was it Oxford?
Yes, I think it was.
I'd say that seems yonks ago, that.
I might be wrong there, like, but just off the top of my head, I think it is. No.
I think it is, to be honest. I'm pretty confident, but we're at that point now where if we don't win soon, it's going to start looking very worrying. I think, no matter how like long it's been since we actually got beat.
Has 2 ways to look at it, and then the thing is wrong. I'm as frustrated as anybody, especially like throwing points away. But at the same time, we've hit a bit of a critical point in the season where we've got loads of injuries, loads of suspensions, and we aren't losing games. I think in the past we could very easily have gone on like a losing run here, or we might have like been scraping draws. What we do, like we're in winning positions, and we're not winning the games, but like other teams just scraping a draw against us almost.
Yeah.
Whereas,
yeah.
so it feels it's just a couple of different ways to look at it, isn't it? But we've got to start winning games again. Like we just cannot. Other teams are dropping points, like Sheffield United yesterday. Like that was criminal yesterday, giving 2 points away.
I think it's been a pretty comprehensive talk about Millwall and where we are and where we're going. The transfer talk starting to heat up now around Chris Rigg, Joe Bellingham, which was always going to happen. But, you know, we'll discuss that if anything becomes a little bit more concrete. I think that the consensus with us is we need to hold on to our best players, which they are, if we're going to mount a serious promotion challenge. And we're getting towards like the guts of the season now. You know, we're not quite at the business end, obviously, but we're holding our own. We're sitting top near Christmas, like, you're a bit hands off for that, sorry. And I can't complain too much, really. And it's a good time to be a Sunderland fan, really. And obviously, we're not without criticism that comes with anything, but I'm pretty happy at present. I don't know about you, fellas.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those weird seasons where someone wins the league on like 70 points. Because I just feel like everyone's dropping points, and like that is frustrating because you kind of think this is our chance to capitalise. We're not doing it, but we're no better or worse than anybody else, so it's all to play for.
I mean, I'm pissed off. I'm not going to lie. Like, absolutely, we're top of the league, but Corden should be so much better. Like, we should be at least 4 points late for me.
No, you're right.
And I'm not trying to be too greedy because obviously we're in a good position. But
no, you're right. You are right. You're definitely right.
No one's setting the world alight. Do you know what I mean? And like, this is we've had so many chances now to be like world clear, give ourselves a buffer, take the pressure off this week. 2 really hard games. We haven't done it, and for me, I'm a bit pissed off at the minute.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. Thank you very much for giving us an hour or so of your time. We do appreciate it. Do drop us a 5-star review if you'd be so kind. If you're sitting listening to us whilst you're having a poo or your tea or both at the same time, whatever. Leave us. I knew a lad at work. He used to have a bag of crisps when he went on the bog. Filthy, terrible man. Anyway, a 5-star review would go a long way. We're on Sky Social. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook if you want to contact the show. We are responsive to messages. Hopefully we'll have Lee back after his operation. I mean, we did make a joke about him having like an operation where his phallus was removed. Actually, he's had, is it a hernia? He's told us all about it a million times in that group chat. I think he wants sympathy, but I literally forgot almost what he was in hospital for already. But hopefully he'll be back. In the meantime, just to thank you and give us a follow and a like. We'd very much appreciate it. Take care and come on the Coal Cats.
See yous.
I'll see you later.
Coming down the Quinn. Yes.
Where am I going? I don't know. Where am I heading? I search for all alone. He scored! Sensation! When will I be there? I don't know. When will I get there? I am searching for all alone. I am on my way. I'm a dream boy. Come home. Hitch a wagon. Come home. Where am I going? I don't know. When will I be there? I ain't certain. What will I get? I ain't the quick to say. Hey, but who gives a damn? We're on our way.
Deep one again. Watson is right in there. So to it, and Porterfield! Oh, Porterfield has scored! And